the lockdown?
I think people keep saying that, but I don't know who is supposed to pay attention. You know, I don't know why we're not paying attention to just how bad our mental health has been affected by all of the things that have been happened, on top of everything else that affects us as human beings on a daily. But I was very saddened to hear about Natasha. She came by, I think we met after that show. We met once and we're just talking through addiction and just talking through what her journey had been like. And I'm just very sad to hear that she's passed on. And you know, we send our deepest condolences to her family, and may her soul rest in eternal peace.
Yeah.
Bill, I think that one of the things that we need to, I think, give a lot of attention is that for many people, when they see somebody who's been having struggles with mental health or even with drug addiction, and I know we're going to focus more on addictions today, the thinking for them is, you want to stop, you stop. It's like you open the tap or you close the tap, you know. Why do we make it seem like it's a whole process? And I would like for us to understand, so that we're not very judgmental of people and going out of our way to call them out because we think they should be doing better by now. How easy is it to first of all, to start an addiction, drugs or alcohol? How easy is it to start?
Oh, it is very easy to start, and starting is not determined by the person's choice. It is usually determined by other factors. Some of the factors could be the environment you're living in. If you live in a family where people drink and smoke, you know, you're most likely able to start. There is peer pressure. In my case, it was peer pressure. Guys said, Bill, let's go, and you stop giving us a lecture. You know, just see how we do our thing. I took it the first time, I liked it. For others, you know, sometimes someone falls ill and then they are given these very strong painkillers, you know, and
that's the start.
Exactly, and then it develops into an addiction. So it is so easy, and you know, we have the saying, never say never. So it can happen to anyone, and it can happen to anyone anytime, especially when we see people who had a problem, who fell ill, accidents, or you know, where they need painkillers, and it develops into a fatal addiction. So when people moralize it, they moralize it simply because of the behavior the person exhibits during their intoxication, as well as the behavior the person exhibits when they have the cravings, when they are dying to take the drug. They will do anything. They will steal, they will fight, they will lie, they will cheat, they'll manipulate. I mean, I'm talking about myself, just to be able to get their drug of choice. And when they lose control, when it's a full-blown addiction, now you have to be stopped. You cannot stop yourself. The stopping process now involves, it can be an intervention, it can be police. That is the stopping point. It can be treatment, it can be family.
At the start of the show, I think I didn't introduce you well enough because,
okay.
But I don't think there's anybody that doesn't know your story by now. But in case somebody doesn't know your story, how would you summarize it?
I am Bill Bekunda. I'm an alcoholic in long-term recovery. I have been to rehabilitation for alcohol abuse in 2004. That's quite a while ago. I had a major relapse about 7 years into my sobriety journey, after which I decided to take on fully as a full-time occupation and lifestyle mental health issues, and you know, helping most especially people who have suffered the same problem like I did in abusing alcohol and other substances. I have taken it to a professional level, most especially in prevention. I prefer prevention, but I've also done a universal treatment curriculum in treatment for addictions, and a universal prevention curriculum for substance use prevention.
what substances are we talking about, the addiction substances? I know you've spoken about this often, but I think it's a good reminder always, because somebody might be using something and they don't think that is drug abuse, or this is even a substance that is getting them to addiction.
Yes. The substances that we talk about are they are psychoactive substances that change the mental state of the brain. The common ones are marijuana, alcohol, heroin, cocaine, mairunji, cat, and so many others. Plus tobacco, there's a whole list of them. But I want to keep it as simple as possible so that it is understandable across.
So that it hits home.
All, yes. So the substances are mostly abused. Actually, the most abused substance, if we go back here to our country, is alcohol, followed by tobacco and weed. Then we have mairunji, the one for chewing. Some of these substances are legal, but that is also dependent on the country. Alcohol is legal in Uganda. Weed, marijuana, is illegal in our country. And I say that the first sign of abuse, especially when it comes to weed, because I've had so many people defending it, saying it's used in other countries, the very first sign of abuse is if it is illegal and you feel you have to use it, then you are abusing. Why do you have to use it? You see, and we have all these party cakes and...
You're pointing there. Someone might think we have cakes in the studio. We do not have.
No, I was pointing at the camera, so to the person in their sitting room seated, it's rampant.
Bill, I might be taking a few joints from my border guy every weekend. Is that a problem? If it's not illegal, you mentioned that if it's illegal here, then it's a problem. So that's a problem.
That is a problem.
Is that a problem in terms of legality, or in terms of what I'm using it for, or how I'm using it?
First,
or is it not illegal, but is how is that a problem in terms of how I'm using it?
Okay, how you're using it, it's illegal. Even if you're found with it, there is a case. Do you really have to? Let's start from there. But on the mental health side, you'd have, it is a psychoactive substance. It changes the mental state of a person's brain, okay? You will notice, or people who have seen someone taking weed or marijuana, when they take it, it changes the way they behave instantly. The way you feel, some say they're lighter, faster, I don't know what they feel, and it makes people feel sick. It makes people lose focus. It makes people laugh. It makes people extremely hungry and feel extremely thirsty, just feeling. And that daze can actually be instantly lethal, for instance, if you can't see well.
When you think about, one of the things we keep talking about is that it's illegal, and that's the biggest problem that you're pointing out. But we know that access is easy. When you reflect back on the show with Winnie and Natasha and Ziwa as well, how easy it was for them to get all of this substance. We know that it's now in cakes, in cookies, in tea. You'll be at a party and you don't even know that it's in the cake. You don't know it's in anything, but it's out there. How bad is what is the danger we are looking at?
The danger is, number one, if somebody doesn't know that they are taking this drug, anything can happen to them. You'll get high, you get confused, you get into a panic. Or for instance, you're driving, you're high, you're not feeling yourself. You can black out, cause an accident. You can, it changes your mood, you get angry, you can become violent. Someone could be hypertensive, and you give them, the weed, you don't know what it could do to them. Someone could be anemic, for instance, could be suffering from one kind of disease or the other.
They could be in recovery.
They could be in recovery, like Bill, and you'll set off a cycle of active addiction because they don't know. I mean, you set off the physical cravings for the person. It's really dangerous, let's go even into, women are raped, girls, even boys these days. But so many rapes do happen. They call it date rape.
Yeah.
Because of that, someone wakes up and they just don't know where they were.
They put something in your drink.
Weed cakes, weed cookies, and all that. Because you get high, you eat, you enjoy it. You feel you're having fun, you black out, and you wake up.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's take a short break, and we'll be right back.
NTV, turning on your world.
It doesn't matter where we are. We bring it wherever we go because space doesn't determine our expression. Our moments are golden, timeless, and enjoyed in Mpola Mpola. Because Mpola Enjoyments is about our crew, our vibe, and our beer.
We bring it Mpola, we meet up
Mpola Enjoyments.
Sugar, Mpola,
It's a Bell Lager thing.
This is us. This is the young and free. The rule makers, shakers, breakers, and remakers. We wave the flag of the fearless. Our dreams bowing to our will. Some think they can stop us. Others think they can tame us. But the only thing they can do is join us. Welcome to Pulse Nation.
Baby Junior Jelly is our friend. It's very soft like mommy's love.
It prevents babies from skin rashes. It soothes them all the time. Baby Junior Jelly, jelly. Baby Junior Jelly is
My babies love Baby Junior Jelly and Baby Junior Soap. Soon after bathing them, with no minutes, their siblings have already handed me the jelly to smear their toddlers. It has an amazing scent, it smoothens their skins, it prevents diaper rash, and it is good on dry and sensitive skin.
Is a Love It product.
Wondered why Royco Mchuzi Mix makes the most delicious stew? I sourced 16 natural ingredients from across the country.
Amazing! The search for the perfect Mchuzi mix is over.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates. Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there. And they never tasted this good.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. We're coming to you from the Kampala Serena Conference Center, the NTV Uganda studios, and we're talking about mental health and addictions tonight. In the studio is Bill Bekunda, the founder of Bekunda Recovery Homes. Bill, earlier when we were speaking, I wanted to ask you, and I think I asked and we didn't get there. People often assume that if you're going to stop an addiction, you just wake up and stop. If you don't want to do something, don't do it, But we know it's not as easy as that. Seeing from stories we've had, looking at your own journey, what does it entail to actually start that journey to recovery?
The first step is a person admitting powerlessness. You have to agree that you are powerless over the substance and your life has become unmanageable. But during the course of use, unless the circumstances around you are really bad and force you to make that acknowledgement, you can't see it yourself. And usually that's when family comes in and has a forced intervention to get you to get help, because you need to be stopped. Nobody can start the process of getting help until there is a need to be stopped. It could be your health is deteriorating. It could be you're putting your life or somebody else's life at risk. It could be your finances. It could be so many things. But then when it happens, when the condition starts going out of hand, you need to be stopped, because you cannot stop yourself. And that's why I like to say that nobody enters into a treatment program willingly. Every single person that gets into a treatment program is forced in, either by their circumstances or by people, places, and things, disease, family, you're in jail for whatever has happened. So that is what starts the process. Now, then you get to start to understand, number one, why you need to stop.
Before we get to process number one, why you need to stop, from previous shows that we've done, some of the comments that have come up, even specifically to my inbox, is family saying, listen, we have this situation in our family, but how do we get this person to come to the place of realization? They've refused to. Do we bundle them up and just take them to the hospital? Does that do more harm than good? How do you help the person to realize if they're not realizing it on their own?
Yes. The very first thing to do is to allow them to, to experience the consequences of their actions.
That's difficult.
Exactly. People do not allow the person, because they say, oh no, it's because they are drinking, oh it's because they are using. If they were not using, they wouldn't be doing this. But unless they face the consequences, there is no reason. They are not motivated to make a decision on their own. That is what we call enabling. If you keep giving them money, if you keep taking them out of jail, if you keep paying their debts, you see what I'm saying? So all those conditions are enabling, and that is usually the family and the friends.
But you know that it's very hard to let family rot in prison, or the debt collector comes and puts you all in a very difficult position.
Yes. There is a way it can be done. I will sort out your debt on condition that you get into a treatment program. Not let me sort out your debt, come home, now you understand that you caused the problem. So there is a condition for my condition. I pull the shots. That is what people need to know. If I'm going to help you, you have got to do something about it. And whatever you do about it has got to be intentional, not just assumed. If your car starts making funny sounds, like we are told these days there is something which is pulled out from the exhaust pipe or something. If it starts making funny noise, you will not assume for long.
You will fix it.
You will call the mechanic. There are so many mental health professionals who are ignored. Nobody wants to call them, yet they are the ones who know how to start fixing the person. And the family. Because the family itself will try to protect. They have to try and keep your name good, and that's why they pull you out of prison. That's why they'll pay your debt so that you don't look bad. That's why when you sell your shoes, they'll buy you another pair of shoes. Or if it gets torn, they'll get you a new pair of trousers. Okay. So there is a lot of influence that comes in to keep you rooted in your addiction as opposed to get you out of it.
Okay, let's go back to step one.
So when you start realizing why you are using, it actually opens your mind to realize that it is not you. you are allergic to this substance. Like eating meat. If I'm allergic to meat, every time I eat it, I'll get a swelling. Every time I drink or use a drug, I behave like this.
Are you conscious? And I told you about an article that I read, and they were asking this person if they were conscious when they were doing what. Do you actually know what you're doing in the moment, or does the drug take so much effect that it's not you now?
You know what you're doing. Definitely you know what you're doing. Difference is you just don't care. Remember, your mental capacity is impaired by the use of the drug, your reasoning and your judgment. So when your reasoning and judgment are impaired, you definitely know what you are doing, but you still go ahead and do it because there is a disconnect. That is why a person has got to face the consequences, because they know, but they are disconnected. So you actually do it. You commit the crime, for instance. Him taking whatever he took, he committed the crime. There is a consequence for the crime. Okay? So once you face the consequence of the crime, during the time you're facing the consequence of the crime is the time you should be getting educated about it, which is what we call rehabilitation. Rehabilitation doesn't only happen in a rehabilitation center. It even happens in homes, although the rehabilitation we talk about is more about the structured one, where you take someone and put them somewhere where they get the direct one. But there is also rehabilitation processes in so many different places.
You have Bekunda homes, and what's in the home that helps?
In Uganda, ambulances are in short supply, so it is Kawangali, police 999, they throw you at the back. But what happens is, at the Bekunda Recovery Homes particularly, this is an aftercare program and also a program for people who cannot afford to be away from work or home, probably, for long periods of time, but can still be in control of themselves. But most especially, it is for people who are in aftercare, after rehabilitation. Okay. It's like a transitional
before
home.
You go back to your
before
home.
You go back to your home, or when you're reintegrating. For instance, if you have a toxic home where there are enablers, or there are people who use, or there are fights and things, then it is a place where you can stop and then reintegrate your life, start afresh. Also, those who, you see there is this problem, you come out of treatment, you go back home, everybody is scared of you. They can't tell you to wake up in the morning. You spend the whole day sleeping.
They don't know what to trigger.
They don't know what to do. They think if they do this, it will trigger you. There is all that confusion. So this is the halfway point where they'll come there, and you're just training them into living normal lives. You have to be up at 7. You have to do your tasks. You have to do them yourself. If you're going back to school, you have to go and apply, you find out what was wrong, check in, and all those things. If you want to start a job, if you want to get a job, you look for the job, you make applications. If you need to finish your studies, if you need to get a new skill, or if you're working, there is accountability. You go to work and you come back. And the unique thing about it is that you're in an environment where you live with peers.
Okay.
And the peers are the ones who help themselves. It's us who help ourselves, to follow rules and guidelines without boundaries. In rehab, you are taught to do it with boundaries. You're locked in. So whether you feel the urge, whether you're angry or whatever, you have no choice. Your brain has to deal with it. In this case, you're out in the open. And there's a very big problem when somebody comes out of, most especially treatment, when they have changed their lives. The family doesn't go through that rigorous training that they have gone through. So they still don't understand, they still suspect, they still, they still just don't understand. And this person has totally changed. The family hasn't changed. So you get back to the environment,
yes,
and you're a different person in it.
my next question to you, which you've actually started to answer, was going to be so you have the hospital, for example, that you've gone to for help. You come out of the hospital, you go to Bekunda's recovery homes, for example. When you come out of that, nobody has prepared family to receive you and to be able to. So if you'd started your addiction maybe because of depression or because of the environment at home, or nobody's prepared family to receive you and help you with the environment. What do I do at home? Do I get rid of all the alcohol bottles? How do I detox the environment if it was toxic and it's what sent you there in the first place? What are we doing about that?
Yes, actually in treatment centers, they are intentional about it. But the families do not usually respond in the same vigorous manner that it's being suggested to them. You tell the family to bring as many people, because I still work at Safe Places Uganda Treatment Center. You tell people to bring the families, for family sessions to understand the problem deeper. Bring as many family members as possible, because the more that know, the better. But they will hide people away. They will come 2 or 3, mom and dad or brother, or they send a cousin, to just go see how he is. And at the end of the day, when he comes back, he doesn't really know. They don't know how to deal with this person. And you'll find that the family will become now the enabling environment, because they are watching. Some are testing the person. Let's go with him to the bar and see if he actually has stopped. You don't know that you're just setting off.
Let's give him weed cake.
Yes.
See if he won't start again.
Yes. So the family not knowing, they are given the opportunity to. Let me tell you the biggest opportunity we have today. I think before we started, we talked about Google.
Yeah.
All the answers are there. Nobody checks. They'll be looking for, who is this guy? We have 529 MPs or some celebrities, what they are doing, depending on what you like. If it's football, you know everything about Arsenal. If it is the royal family, you're talking about the black lady who is married to the white man. And yet, when you're still actually reading that, whatever it is called, socialite news, then your son or brother comes waddling in, shouting, then you put the phone down and then you start quarreling with him instead. You're a grown-up man, you're this. Instead of Googling, how do I deal with a person who has come in drunk? How do I deal with a person who has failed to stop using? So we have the answers, but we just don't follow them. Every client I have had, I encourage them, please Google, use it wisely. You will get the answers. You will get the answers. If you're not satisfied, get a professional. If you're confused, okay, get a professional. We are here. There are so many of us that, you wonder. Some of them are doing other jobs because there is no one to come to them, I'm starting I'm trying to do a little bit more than just have them in homes to get better as a halfway house. That now I'm moving to, it's a place in Mutungwa, it's called the Canopy. It's a recreation area. And at that area, we want to now have activities for people in recovery as a wholesome thing, not just for addicts, not just for people, but for families. We can have family groups, we can have people coming to meet and talk there, do exercise, nutrition, because nutrition is the biggest support for recovery of mental challenges.
All right, Bill, thank you for that. Let's take another short break and we'll conclude our discussion when we come back.
NTV, turning on your world.
Introducing Rolex Express on Glovo. Get Nyanyambisi from 2,000 Uganda shillings and Rolex with homemade meals from as little as 7,000 Uganda shillings.
whoever you're doing it for, we'll help you get it done. Simply. That's Africanacity. That's APSA.
Wondered why Royal Tuesday makes the most delicious stew? I sourced 16 natural ingredients from across the country.
Amazing! The search for the perfect mchuzi mix is over.
Apply or register today as an Airtel Money agent free of charge. Submit your business documents to be verified by Airtel Uganda free of charge. Feedback will be communicated within a maximum of 5 working days. The Airtel team will be in touch with you for the next business steps, still at no cost. Inquiries, applications or registrations and verification are all free of charge. Call us today on 0800 327 327 toll free. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Tonight we're speaking about mental health and addictions, and the month of May is, and I should have started with that, Bill. The month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we know that nearly 450 million people worldwide, 450 million people, I'll just repeat that, are currently living with a mental illness, yet nearly 2/3 of people with a known mental illness never seek treatment. Why is that?
There is no value attached to recovery. Like we started, it is considered to be a moral issue because of the behaviors pertaining to using and the behaviors exhibited by the person who has used or who, after using, and the way the family also treats it. So when it is, and the advertising companies will always make it the individual's problem.
What I wanted to do with this last maybe 12 minutes that we have, we're going to be talking about why, and you've touched on that, why we shouldn't classify addiction as an individual's problem.
Yes, that is very, very important. It's actually the thing that we need to be talking about more. I think I should talk about that for a whole year. I've become a cartoonist.
Yes, I saw that. I actually want us to see some of the cartoons that you've been putting up. I've seen them on your social media sites, and I think they're very effective.
I've got more comments from them than from the writing and the talking I've done, and it's very interesting. People need to know the basics of mental health so that they can understand that mental health affects everybody, and there is usually a core. Since I'm into the field of addiction, I'll use the addiction field and the family. I am the addict. I drink. I go home. I cause mayhem. They spend the night awake, first of all, waiting for me, wondering where I was. I come at 4 a.m. I haven't paid the taxi or boda guy. Probably I almost was lynched, or I was lynched, or I was in a police cell. They have to pick me up. Tomorrow you have to go to work. You are tired. You are stressed. You are depressed. You come back, you're only thinking of what can I do. Your friend at work sees you're so stressed, they say, you know what, please go and rest. I will cover for you. You get one person doing the job for 2 people. They will not do it well. They're also like, but this one also always with her problems. You're causing them stress. You don't know if the person who is helping you has issues with her husband who is depressed or wife. It is a big circle. None of them knows even how to manage themselves so that they can separate their problem from another person's problem. When I am affected by somebody else's actions and behavior, I carry the disease. I actually respond and become as sick as
the person. So the children in the family are also picking it, going to school, not, concentrating, or they are tired and sleeping in class, or they are depressed because my daddy is always,
or even absent. The people want to stay away from home because they are not enjoying what's going on in the house. Basically, all those things are all encompassed under mental health. Now, when you react more severely than another person, if you're intoxicated, yes, why wouldn't someone say, but we are going through the same pain, how come you're behaving like this? Do you have to drink? Can't you see that when you drink, you make matters worse? And the person is telling you, I have tried to stop and I have failed. Can you not take those drugs? Have you seen what it has done to so and so? They even show you celebrities. And you'll be like, yes, and I'm trying to stop. And they say, this one is a liar.
When have you ever tried to stop?
When have you tried? You say, I tried then, and you say, but you told me in the morning, in the evening, you were high. That happened to me. You see what I'm saying? So how can a person who doesn't understand mental health challenges separate the fact that this is a disease? The biggest thing here, number one, I say, is do not judge. Do not judge. You do not know what is happening. Okay? Best find someone to help you explain what is happening. Go to a professional, tell them exactly what is happening. This is how he comes back, this is what he tells me, and then this is what he does. And I will have the answer for you. And then you'll realize, oh, you mean I've been blaming myself all along for this person's problem, yet I have nothing to do with it. So you'll do away with the guilt. Now you'll start responding to the person appropriately, and then the person will be able to get help. I like to advise companies, organizations, NTV here, you need to bring more of professionals in mental health to come at the beginning of every year, or is it end of year? I don't know. And educate and assess the staff to see where the problems are and help them. Not motivational speak.
You're saying every year. I feel like it should be every month because so much happens. And also because of my media background, it's knowing that reporters go to the field, they see blood, they see their gunshots, there's all of this stuff that's happening, and nobody...
Can you put in the proposal for me? I don't know how to write proposals.
And nobody actually factors in the impact of it on an individual and how it will eventually become part of this cycle. I mean, when I just joined the journalism field, the stories I used to do at the beginning were child sacrifice. No one prepared you to see a hand torn off a body or, something like that. Between the bombings that happened, nobody prepared you to go to the field and see pieces of flesh scattered around. But we overlook that. We just somehow assume we'll get over it, and so I think it should be not even once a year. It should be as often as possible. You kept saying how addiction is looked at as a moral issue, and one of the things we spoke about before we started the show was how it's not even on medical insurance.
Yes.
What is the danger of us constantly looking at it as you are just, badly behaved, or your upbringing was, or whatever it is they term it as?
Now you're actually giving authority to the disease to get worse. You're allowing more people to get affected and blaming them when they get affected. That's making them worse. Addictions are known to be genetically predisposed, and therefore you'll see that you are not helping to stop the predisposition of spilling over into the next generation because you're aware of it. And if the child comes out to be who they are, you'll be like, this one is like the uncle, this one is like the cousin, this one is like, you know what I mean? That's their fate. They are just bad people. Be like me, I'm the good one. So we are not stopping it, we are just increasing it. Plus, today, the drugs that are getting on the market, people are being very creative. Young boys and girls in schools have become cooks. They no longer bring the drugs to school. They make them in school.
In the lab?
In the lab.
So they steal syringes from... We once found a random syringe.
They'll bring the ingredients in their grab case, which are harmless. You'll even wonder, okay, and all they have to do is put 1 + 1 together, and guys are getting high, and you're busy searching them when they're coming in, searching them when they're going out, and you wonder what is happening. There are very many ways with mobile phones and mobile connections and mobile watches that one of the guys he confided in me. He said, you know what, I just would send a message and the guy throws for me the stuff over the fence at a certain place, and I would just go and pick them at my own time, or I'd be there waiting. You know, it's crazy.
Bill, we're going to close the show now. What is your call to action? I know that we are constantly encouraging people to break the stigma around mental health illness, but also break the stigma around addiction. And I'm glad that people like you actually step up to come and share your stories. And I think stories are one of the best ways to actually get people to realize that maybe they're not doing something, you know, they're not heading on a really good path for themselves. What is your call to action to whoever is listening? Maybe somebody who's using, maybe they're just playing around with stuff, they're not really, you know, or maybe they're already at a certain stage, family that's watching and thinking of their person whom they would like to give some kind of support, or family that's just sick and tired of dealing with this person, and we're done. That's not our business anymore.
I think I should simply say, understand the problem. You need to understand the problem. If you don't understand the problem, you first and foremost don't know what to do about it. I think that's all I can say, because we have the information on our phones, on our tablets, on our computers. We need to seek help. We need to see professionals. When you look for the mechanic for your car, it's the same thing. You look for the mechanic for your brain. You look for the mechanic for your body. That's why you go and look for a doctor when you're not feeling well. I call upon you to look for help, look for answers. The answers are all around you. If I know the signs and symptoms of a problem, I'll see it developing and I start working on it. Why? If I don't work on it, it's going to work on me.
Bill, you're assuming that everybody is as self-aware as we'd like them to be, that you're constantly paying attention to the things that are happening to you and how you're transitioning from one thing, how you're dealing with grief, how you're dealing with... Many people just bury themselves in something and they push it at the back of their
because
minds.
they're avoiding it. But everybody pays attention to what's going on in their home until they want to hide away from it if they can't handle it.
When you say go out and find the mechanic, okay, find help.
Yes.
Yeah. Do I just go to any hospital and say I need to see first of all, who am I looking for to deal with this problem?
Number one, if you have a phone, Google whom do I see if I am feeling depressed, if I'm feeling angry, if my son is being a problem. It will give you suggestions.
Okay.
Yeah. But even going to see a medical doctor will start the process, because you'll ask the doctor and they'll recommend you to go where you need to be. They would probably say, this needs to be dealt with in the mental health department. Or the mental health department will say, no, you need to see a private practitioner, you need a counselor, go talk about it. See a counselor. Everybody knows about counselors. Counselor. But we have hated counselors since school days that I don't see how we like them in our adulthood. So we just have to get into the habit of seeking help, especially for our brains.
Thank you so much, Bill, for taking the time to speak with us. I'll just give you 1 minute to maybe, if you have anything else that you think we've left out of our conversation for today that you want to put out there.
Okay.
You can do it in this minute.
I think that's the most difficult thing to say, because there is too much to talk about. But if you'd like to know more about your mental health, about your mental state, about the problem, about how it could be affecting you, your family, and how to get better, please feel free to look for me. At Bill Bekunda. Just Google Bill Bekunda, the numbers will come. I'm on Facebook, follow me on Facebook. I have my cartoons. You'll learn some from them. And I really wish you all well, but before I say bye, I just want to say rest in peace. Natasha, thank you for the good work you did, the time we had you around, and we know that there are some people you actually helped. I wish I was able to tell you this myself, but well, fare thee well. She's going to be buried on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's all I can say.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and also for sharing the information about Natasha and also getting the permissions from her family for us to have even this conversation at the beginning of the show about what she'd shared with us. Well, that brings us to the end of our show for tonight. Thank you for watching. And coming up is NTV Weekend Edition.
Turning on your world.
Kaminga is brought to you by
Mirinda. Mirinda.
Grab yourself an ice-cold bottle of Mirinda Orange at any shop or supermarket near you. Mirinda Orange, the taste that makes you go ORNG.
Program Guide
is brought to you by
Star Times, winner People's Choice Quality Awards 2020. Program Guide.